Hi everyone, welcome back to Data Cadence. My name is Rahul, and in this particular video, we are going to talk about a SQL coding question that was once asked in a JP Morgan Chase data science interview. Now, I'm sure that JP Morgan needs no introduction. It's a leading global financial services firm offering different types of services like investment banking, financial services, commercial banking, consumer banking, and then asset management and so on. So, let's jump straight into the problem. So it's tagged as a medium level problem, but I would personally tag it as an easy one. So let's see what the problem is saying. So it says that your team at JP Morgan Chase is soon launching a new credit card. So like I mentioned, JP Morgan Chase has credit cards as one of the line of businesses, and that's what is mentioned here. And you're asked to estimate how many cards you will issue in the first month. Now, before you can answer this question, you want to get some perspective on how well new credit card launches typically do in their first month. And you are asked to write a query that outputs the name of the credit card and how many cards were issued in its launch month. And the launch month is the earliest record in the monthly cards issued table for a given card. Order the results starting from the biggest issued amount. And here you have been given the monthly cards issued table. So you can see you have the issue month, the issue year, the card name, and the issue amount. That is how many cards were issued in that particular month. And this is an example input. So you see that, for example, in January of 2021, the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, almost 170,000 cards were issued for this particular one in the month of January in 2021. And similarly, you can see the other values. And in the output, you can see that the card name is Chase Sapphire Reserve and the issued amount is 170,000. And for Chase Freedom Flex, it's 65,000. And you can clearly see that Chase Sapphire Reserve card was launched in January of 2021 with an issued amount of 170,000 cards. And the Chase Freedom Flex card was launched in March of 2021 with an issued amount of 65,000 cards. The dataset you are querying against may have different input and output. That's what they mention. And this is just a simple example. So like I mentioned, looks like a fairly straightforward problem. Before I start talking about my own thought process and solution, just give this an attempt. It's an easy problem. And once again, I will give you a hint. If you are able to use window functions, or even if you are aware about where to apply window functions and in what condition, then you should be able to easily solve this particular problem. So now let's talk about how we might solve this problem using a window function. So window functions are great when you need to perform calculations across rows while still keeping each row of your data visible in your results. That's one of the primary differences between a window function and a group by or other aggregate functions. And here is how we can approach the problem using window functions. So let's first talk about the approach. The first thing that we need to do is to rank the rows. So instead of filtering any sort of data, let's rank each of the rows within its respective credit card based on the issue year and the issue month. And this way we can easily identify the earliest record for each of the cards. And this you can easily do using a row number function. That's pretty straightforward. Or even you can go ahead and use rank and dense rank, although there are certain caveats and certain corner cases might get into trouble. But I think, yeah, to start with row number should be good. The second thing that you can do is you can filter by rank. So after you assign the ranks based on the row number, we will filter out all the rows except the ones with the lowest rank, which corresponds to the launch month. And the last thing that you can do is you can finally sort out the results. So finally, we can sort out the results by the number of cards issued in the descending order. And that's how we can solve this particular problem. So we'll just start writing in the SQL code. And it's easier to go ahead. Okay, let me first just run this particular thing to ensure there is data. Yes, there is data and valid data in the table. So the first thing that we can do is we can create a CTE or a common table expression. It's always good to break it down into simple CTEs so that in the end we know what needs to be done, right? So let's call this particular CTE as say ranked issues. And here what you can do is you can select the card name, the issued amount, and this is where I was talking about the row number. This is one of the window functions that you can use. Let me just type in and I can explain then. Row number, you can partition by the card name since you want to do this for each of these cards and you want to sort it by the earliest year and the earliest month within that particular year. Issue year and issue month, that's what we order by. Let's give it an alias of say RNK, and we want to do this from the original table, monthly cards issued. And once you do that, I think with this CTE in place, we can write a simple select query to get things started. We can select the card name and the issued amount because that is ultimately what we want as output, and we want these two columns. So we'll select the card name and the issued amount from the CTE that we created above, that is say ranked issues. And you can simply put a where condition where your rank that you have created above is 1, and towards the end, like we discussed, you can simply sort it in descending order by the issued amount, and that should take care of things. So let's first try to run the code and then I'll give a final explanation. Okay, it says missing from clause entry for the table card name. Seems like some sort of issue. Oh, I see, I had a typo here. I just put a full stop instead of a comma, but that's okay. Let's run the code again. Yes, we are able to run the code. Let's try to submit. Perfect. The solution is accepted. So why use window functions? So they are incredibly powerful for solving problems like this because they allow you to perform complex calculations without losing the granularity of your data. So the good part is that you can have each of these rows in your output and still perform some sort of aggregation over these rows. And in this case, the window function approach is not only more elegant, but it's easier to understand and maintain. The logic is pretty clearer. Your query is relatively clean. So to summarize the logic, you are ranking the records, picking the first one, and then sorting by performance. Simple and effective. It's like a no-brainer for anyone who is looking at this. And like I said, I would personally label this as an easy problem. So it's nothing very complicated here. So hopefully this particular video gave you some sort of insight into what sort of questions can you expect in terms of window questions. You can see another window function based question when it came to another SQL coding question that was asked in Twitter. That was slightly more involved than this, but again, most of the questions that you might expect around medium to hard level in a data science interview, in a SQL coding interview, would be around window functions. So that's why we solved this particular question, and hopefully it helped you gain some sort of understanding of a window function. And if you were already aware of it, then hopefully it gave you a quick refresher as to how you would solve an easy window function based question. So thank you so much for watching this particular video. Hopefully it helped you in some way. If it did, please consider liking this particular video and subscribe to this channel for more such content, and see you in the next video. Then until then, keep learning, take care, and bye bye.